Think the Wild West was all about cowboy duels and gold rushes? Think again. Behind the legends of outlaws and heroes lies a gritty, reckless, and downright disgusting reality. From bone-chilling hazards to jobs that would make your skin crawl, these men and women did the dirty work that built a nation. Buckle up, because we are diving into the 15 most dangerous and craziest jobs of the American frontier. First up, the gold miner. Driven by the fever of wealth, thousands flocked to icy rivers and jagged mountains, swinging pans and picks in a desperate search for that elusive yellow metal. Their day began before sunrise, stirring freezing waters and smashing through solid rock in a cycle of back-breaking labor that never ended. But the exhaustion was just the start. They faced constant death from sudden cave-ins, flash floods, and silent, deadly gas. In the shadows, claim jumpers lurked, while scurvy and mercury poisoning turned their dreams of riches into a brutal, tragic legacy. Next, the silver miner. They flocked to legendary sites like Nevada's Comstock Lode, armed with drills and picks to shatter ore-rich quartz veins. Their days were a brutal cycle of blasting, hauling massive ore carts, and frantically bracing tunnels with wooden pillars to prevent a collapse. Every breath was a risk as they inhaled toxic dust that scarred their lungs forever. They lived in constant terror, listening to the creaking of wooden beams before the earth gave way. Between the danger and the scurvy from vitamin-poor camp food, it was a suffocating price to pay, all for the sake of that shining silver. At number 3, the coal miner. Working deep underground, these men extracted the fuel from massive locomotives and blast furnaces. With only picks and shovels, they loaded heavy coal into narrow carts, crawling through dark and suffocating tunnels. The risks were terrifying. Constant inhalation of coal dust led to the deadly black lung disease, while sudden methane gas explosions could ignite in a heartbeat. Water would often flood through weak coal seams, trapping everyone inside. Countless miners lost their limbs or their lives in the pitch-black silence of the earth. At number 4, the snake oil salesmen. These con artists roamed dusty border towns, their medicine chests rattling with empty promises of miracle cures. They targeted desperate settlers, hawking miracle elixirs and snake oil liniments, claiming to heal everything from bone-crushing arthritis to deadly fevers. Crowds gathered in town squares, lured by flashy labels and fast-talking lies. But when these fake tonics inevitably failed, the salesmen faced more than just disappointed customers. Angry mobs, armed with pitchforks and broken bottles, would often hunt down these frauds, chasing them out of town under the threat of brutal violence. At number 5, the Saloon Bouncer. Guarding the swinging doors of dusty border bars, these men were built with raw strength and lightning-fast reflexes. Ready for chaos at any moment, they dragged thugs out by the collars, desperately stopping brawls before the bullets started flying. They mopped up spilled beer from filthy floorboards, enduring endless insults from drunken outlaws and rowdy cowboys under the dim gaslight. It was a brutal existence where only those with a stomach of iron and nerves of steel could survive. In the lawless West, a bouncer's life was always one punch or one shot away from ending. At number 6, the Stagecoach Guard. Saddled up with Winchester rifles and heavy leather satchels, these brave men protected gold shipments and vital mail across lawless territories. They rode shotgun, scanning the horizons of desert plains and winding mountain passes for lurking foes. The threat of ambush was everywhere. Outlaws used brutal siege tactics, felling trees and rolling massive boulders to trap the coaches in narrow canyons. Under a sudden volley of gunfire from the brush, only alert eyes and steady hands kept the valuables and the lives of passengers intact. It was a high-stakes game of survival where one mistake meant a bloody end on the trail. At number 7, the town marshal. Roaming chaotic frontier towns in dust-worn coats, these men carried holsters loaded with deadly Colt revolvers. They were the thin line between order and anarchy, mediating violent feuds between ranchers and saloon owners while overseeing makeshift jails. They faced a brutal gallery of foes, from crooked gamblers to ruthless stagecoach robbers. Every day required quick judgment and steely nerves to stay alive. At high noon, under the scorching sun, only a steady hand and a fearsome reputation stood between them and a fatal shootout. In the Wild West, being the law meant having a permanent target on your back. Coming in at number 8, the bounty hunter. These lone wolves roamed the frontier, following blood trails across sun-scorched plains and rugged mountains. Armed with six-shooters and pure grit, they tracked every clue, from a discarded cartridge to a disturbed campsite, to close in on their prey. They endured blistering heat and freezing nights with almost no supplies, driven by the promise of a reward. But the hunt often ended in mortal combat, in hidden alcoves or abandoned cabins. Success meant cold, hard cash and notoriety, but failure meant an unmarked grave in the middle of no man's land. At number 9, the railroad tie hacker. Laboring along the first rail lines, these men hand-hewed oak and pine ties using only heavy axes and mallets. They sank massive spikes and leveled the unforgiving ground, toiling through frigid winters and scorching summers. The physical toll was devastating. Relentless swings led to severe dehydration, heat stroke, and agonizing frostbite. But the real danger lay in a single slip. Accidents from errant blades often meant missing fingers or limbs, with almost no medics to treat the wounds. Despite the brutal conditions, their blood and sweat laid the foundation for coast-to-coast travel. At number 10, the dynamite blaster. These men handled precarious sticks of nitroglycerin-based explosives to carve tunnels and blast roadways through stubborn rock. They drilled deep holes, packed the volatile charges, and lit fuses with trembling hands under the scorching sun. One single mistake was fatal. A misread fuse length or a sudden jolt could trigger accidental detonations, sending deadly shrapnel flying and collapsing massive tunnel walls. Only the most precise and daring men survived this explosive frontier craft. In the Wild West, being a blaster meant living every second just one spark away from oblivion. At number 11, the chimney sweep. Clambering up narrow scaffolds and into suffocating brick flues, these workers were armed only with coarse brushes and Hessian sacks. They scraped thick layers of soot from crumbling mortar and fought through sticky, toxic creosote clumps in the dark. Every ascent was a brutal gamble. One slip meant a fatal fall onto hard hearthstones, while inhaled ash burned their lungs and eyes every single day. Without any protective gear, sweeps endured chronic coughs, blackened skin, and permanent respiratory damage. It proves that not all dangerous frontier jobs involved a six-shooter. In the West, even the smoke could be a silent killer. At number 12, the cattle rustler. Under the cover of moonlight, these outlaws slipped onto open ranges with nothing but rope and raw grit. They corralled herds thought to be secure, branding them with stolen irons to hide their crimes. They muffled the lowing beasts beneath pine boughs, desperately trying to evade the dawn patrols. But their luck often ran out at sunrise. They faced brutal raids from lawmen and deadly ambushes by rival gangs. Their biggest fear? Lynching. If justice caught up, it usually ended at the end of a noose swinging from a lone tree. Few outlaws survived the long, perilous drive, making cattle rustling one of the shortest and bloodiest careers in the West. At number 13, the buffalo hunter. Riding endless prairie trails, these men chased massive herds to supply meat and hides for the growing rail crews. Mounted on weary horses beneath a blazing sun, they fired volley after volley with heavy breech-loading rifles. But one misstep could spark a thundering stampede, where thousands of bison would trample men and horses into the dust. Hauling heavy packs of tanned skins, hunters battled extreme exhaustion, track-swallowing dust storms, and the constant risk of broken limbs. In the wild, when the bison surged, there was no escape from the crushing weight of a living wall of fur and bone. At number 14, the riverboat pilot. Commanding shallow draft steamers along the twisting Missouri River, these men had to memorize every hidden current and underwater snag that could rip a hull apart in seconds. Each day they peered into swirling eddies, desperately balancing speed against the risk of plowing into submerged logs. One wrong turn at dawn or a hidden shoal could send a massive vessel crashing into canyon walls. It was a constant battle of nerves of steel to keep the crew afloat and the cargo safe. In the treacherous waters of the West, the pilot was the only thing standing between a successful voyage and a watery grave. Finally, at number 15, the bootlegger. Hauling barrels of illicit whiskey through dusty back roads and hidden trails, these outlaws operated in the shadows. They slipped past federal agents and vigilantes under the cover of darkness, their wagons creaking under the weight of contraband. Every run was a dangerous gamble. They faced deadly ambushes by revenue officers, sudden seizures of stock, and fierce turf wars with rival runners. When shots rang out at moonrise, only speed, cunning hideaways, and unwavering loyalty to the crew ensured a successful delivery. In the lawless West, a bootlegger's wife was always just one bullet away from an end. The Wild West wasn't just about legends, it was built on the sweat, blood, and grit of those who did the dirty work. Which of these jobs do you think was the most insane? Let us know in the comments below. If you enjoyed this deep dive into history, don't forget to smash that like button and share this video with a fellow history buff. Subscribe to Vintage Shots and hit the bell icon to never miss another journey into the past. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you in the next chapter of history.